Um, Newman, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. So, it's a new beginning for us as far as this year is concerned. Okay, and so let's see how how this will turn out, right? As we fellowship together. Okay, and I'm gonna be doing this for the next 4 weeks. This is the first week, right? Remaining 3 weeks. Okay, so it's after this we'll go on a short break, and then just like that, you know, maybe after the completion of the series, there will be a 1 week off for people to, go back to, the things that we have looked into together, so that um, on your own you can personally um, look into the things that will be shared, the things that will be revealed. Okay, so we are beginning on these notes: awareness, change, and well-being. Okay, now, like the way we always function, right? We are all together looking into this stuff together. We are all, um, you know, contemplating our lives together. Do you understand? It's basically, understanding yourself, your place in the universe, right? And how your life stands to affect, the order. And I think that's the most important thing. Uh, when man began to philosophize on the universe, right? I think one of the basic question or fundamental question that began to um, go through the minds of people um, is the question of what's my place here in this universe. You know, that was the fundamental question that began to, followed, um, that began to follow their discovery of the world in which we are all living, the universes. Okay, and so when you look at the vastness of of all things, the vastness of reality, then the question is, who are you, and what the hell are you doing here? Okay, yes, who are you and what are you doing here? Okay, maybe uh, what are you doing here, and what do you think is your purpose, right? Yes, and so that's where the question of purpose, began to come about. You ask yourself, why am I here? You get, and so uh, of course, people we, think a lot, and then you start to ask yourself, uh, is it just to be born, go through the organized structure of the society, and then come out of that, and then if you are not a eunuch, you marry, right? And you give birth, you raise children, and then that's the end of your own phase. Right? And so for some persons that was not uh, that was not sufficient enough. It didn't give a significant reason why one should be alive. Do you understand? Um, so if you are so important, all right, why are you this? Why are you like this? Do you understand? Why are you like this? You simply depend on on the gas in the air for survival, right? And so are you that very fragile that just a snap of a thing, your life is gone? Okay, and so what is really important about about you, that is today and tomorrow you are what? You are gone. Okay, and so I mean, people across ages have been asking such question. It's a very personal question, right? Very personal question. And for some persons who did not have an answer, right, it's eventually led to um, frustration. Do you understand? Now people have committed suicide just because of this. Always being in a search for an answer to that fundamental question, that keeps eating them up. Okay, and by the time such a seeker cannot find an answer, life ultimately become um, miserable for such an individual. Okay, now for other persons, they find meaning to life within their religious setting, right? And so I'm called of God to liberate the world. So as far as that man is concerned, that's the meaning of his life. Do you understand? That's the meaning of his life. And so we've been on this search for a meaning. We've been on this search for, there must be the reason why I'm here. I'm not just here like that. Do you get what I'm saying? There must be the reason why I'm here. Okay? Is there a reason for sex? Eh? Are we together? Yeah. Is there a reason for sex? And so, are you a byproduct of the want for pleasure between two individuals? Do you understand what I just said? Two persons have sex to have pleasure, and then you came as a result of that. Eh? So you are a byproduct of the pleasure of two individuals. There was primarily no intention at that point of sexual interaction. Okay? It was just a possibility that you came by while two persons were having pleasures together. Now you came into this world, you are looking for something. Probably, why did you come here? You came here because two persons. You came here because two persons were enjoying themselves, and in the process of that enjoyment, of that pleasure, you came here. And so we are all in search of meaning. It wasn't as though there was a meaning that accompanied you. So we are here as a possibility that arose from the sexual interaction between two people. I'm not saying it's a mistake. I'm just saying it's a possibility. There was a possibility that you couldn't have been born. Let's say if your dad offended your mom that night and they didn't do anything. maybe that very day they took you in, nothing would have worked. And so there exists out there, or there exists in reality, countless possibilities. Okay. But then, um, as a man, you want to live for something. Okay. And so that's why um, there has to be uh, the meaning of being. And so, like I said, um, religion, right, has given people, the context for their lives. It has given their lives a context. And so people exist within that context. The reason why it will be very difficult for you to convince a religious man, all right, to look into, let's say, his belief system, is because, when you take a man's belief from him, it's like you are taking away his life. As far as he's concerned, his life is defined within that context. Okay? And so let's say all of you, okay, maybe for me, I may not know about you, right? Now, when I transitioned, okay, the question was, for me was, okay, what then is what? What's the next? Do you understand what I'm saying? How does my life, find context again? Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. You see, in other words, how do I live again? Do you understand? Yeah. Because that way of life that was structured within a particular context has died. So it's no more. Okay? It's no more. So here comes a man who says he's called of God to do this particular thing, and right now your beliefs are changing, and so that itself is death. It's as though your entire life is coming down, because people build their life based on the meaning they have ascribed to life in relation to themselves. And so I am this, and so you build your life according to that. Do you get? And so that's the issue of purpose. But then the thing is, what truly is your purpose? What's your purpose? Are we here for a reason? Or are we just here as some kind of possibility that came about between, as a result of people, having time with themselves? Are we together? The question of purpose, because often that's where the attachment, that's where the attachment is coming from. Okay, you have to be aware of this. You have to fully understand this. Okay, so that you can create your own world. Do you know what I mean by creating your own world? So that you can exist within a given space of thought. You see? So you and I, we can actually exist within the given space of thought the moment we begin to understand this fundamental question that has to do with why are you here, right? The purpose of being. Okay? So let's say if you are not a religious man, okay, maybe you find yourself as a career person, So you said, I was born for this. All right. And so we are all defining life, okay, in the way that uh, we want it to go for us. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so life itself is not life itself, or what people may call joy, may call fulfillment, is not objective, right? It's always based on something, it's always in relation to something. And so when things are not happening according to what? Eh? When things are not happening according to the context in which you and I have defined it, then it becomes what? Life becomes frustrating. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so often it is our um it is our it is our definition and our constructed context, all right, that is the foundation for our attachment. You get what I'm saying? That is the foundation for our attachment. But then there also exists a possibility that how you have planned it, how you have constructed it, it may not always happen that way. You see? Now, this is something about life that we really should understand. Okay? And I really thought about this so many times. Now, you may completely be aware of what is going on right now, but you are not aware of what will take place in the next what? Let's say in the next 30 minutes, or in the next, in the next 2 hours, or tomorrow or next tomorrow. Okay? Now, sometimes when you look back, right from where you are presently or currently, okay, and then you are asked, did you imagine to be here as at 5 years ago? Okay? I mean, most of us will say no, right? For me, I would say no, because I can't even imagine that I will be here right now. Okay, something else, let's say I had other visions, I had many things, many constructs and contexts in which my life should work. But eventually, possibility play out. And we may have intentions. Okay? Now it's not bad for you to have intentions. But then intention must always submit to life's mystery, to the mystery of life itself, that unfold within the parameters of his own possibilities. You must be able to trust the universe. Or if you are a religious man, you must be able to trust God. Okay? The word God is a religious word to describe the ultimate. To trust God. Now, the God ideal is the God ideal. Now, let me explain it in the way that we can relate to it. The God ideal, you can describe it as a field. Okay? Let me see if I can write something. Okay. You can describe it as what? Can you see it?
Do you need to say the God idea?
Ideal or idea. Okay? The God ideal or idea, all right? Or the idea of God.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, you can see it as a field of the field of complete knowing, right? The field of perfect knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The field of perfect knowledge. Now, when I say trust the universe or trust God, I'm actually saying that currently there is the possibility, all right, that flows from this field of knowing. Okay? This field of perfect knowledge that may not be featured or captured in your current plan.
Yeah.
All right? Now, do you even know that you can never completely know yourself? Okay, this is what I mean. You can never completely know yourself. Why? Because, let's say, for example, consciousness. If I say you are consciousness, what does that mean? What is consciousness to begin with? Are we together?
Yeah.
What's consciousness? Are we together? What's consciousness to begin with?
That field of ultimate.
No, you can explain it or define it the way you. What do you think is consciousness?
I think is I don't have the words exactly, but that that field of that
Okay,
field of
you are trying to wrap your thoughts.
yeah.
What do you understand by consciousness? Eh?
You can't. I don't. There's no. I don't know what is conscious.
Okay, then.
You can feel. You know. You feel. You are in that feeling.
Okay.
That almost. But it's not something that even sometimes what we even trying to capture that.
Okay. Okay. Now, consciousness, like we have it, is a word, right? The word is consciousness is what is a word, an English word. Now, it's a word that is describing an actual phenomenon, right, or actual reality. Okay, let's just say that um, if we talk about consciousness, all right, mainly we are talking about the observable. All right, let's say that which you are conscious of, or the field out of which arise all of your feelings, all of your emotions, all of your actions, and all of that. But that field itself, is it all of that which is observable? Eh? Are we together? Are we following the thought? Is it all of that which is observable? No. So that means it also includes that which is unobserved.
Yeah.
And so if I say you are essentially consciousness, I'm actually saying that both the conscious and the unconscious is what makes you up. So right now, if I say, what are you aware of currently? What will you say? You are aware that you are listening to me right now. You are aware that you are here right now. You are aware that, okay? But even at this microcosm of this organism,
Yeah.
if I say, what are you aware of regarding yourself? Maybe you are aware of your feelings, you are aware of, your anger, you are aware of your weakness, you are aware of your body. Maybe you are aware of your skin, what's going on, or maybe what the doctor told you. But you are not aware of everything that is going on in your body. But you are doing it. Okay? And so if I say, who are you? Because you see, as you go deeper, you realize that certain fundamental questions that seems very simple is not something you can actually provide an answer to, because you don't really know.
Yeah.
All right? You can actually, say some things about it, but then you do not completely know. Okay? And so, if you are fundamentally consciousness, all that you are is not all that you know you are. Because you only know. Your knowing is part of the known, is the conscious. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so you don't have a perfect knowledge of who you are. You get what I'm saying? And so what you only have, when I say imperfect knowledge, I'm not talking about distorted knowledge. It's not just sufficient. All right? The known is just a drop in the ocean of the unknown. And so there are more to you that you are probably aware of. All right? Now, this is why the ancients will refer to this field of perfect knowledge as the highest self. Do you understand what I just said? As what? As the highest self. And so you can that God idea, okay? It can be seen or described as the field of perfect knowing, or as God if you are a religious man, okay? Or as the highest form of self. Now, that highest form of self is unknown. Okay? It is the unconscious that constitutes your field of being. And so just a drop of yourself, all right, is part of all that you are aware of. Now, that brings us to, brings us to a place of true search and seeking. All right, we are like scientists. We keep searching, we keep finding out. All right, because life itself unfolds in its mysteries and possibilities. There is the reason why I cannot be afraid of tomorrow. Why? Because I trust the field. I trust the highest form of myself. I may not have all the available information right now, but I know that the possibility that life will unveil is definitely. This is why I can be fully present right here and now. Okay? And so, the mystic walk on this edge of trust. All right? Edge of trust. Now, you cannot, you see, if it's in the normal religious setting, you can call this faith, right? Okay? Let's say in scripture, you say, man shall walk by what? By faith and not by sight. All right? Now, that's a very profound statement. And the difference between spirituality and religion, when it comes to faith, is that faith for the religious man is always objective, right? It's always based on something. It's always based on something you want to, you are looking onto. All right. But for the spiritual man, it's within, right? Do you get what I just said? That is, the work of faith or the expression of faith, as far as the spiritual man is concerned, is not a split between the object and the subject. Do you get what I just said? You see, now, faith, which is trust, mystery, and wonder all goes together. They go together. You see. That's why there is a point of fusion between reasoning and this. There is that center. In religion, we don't talk about reasoning because that's the devil's tool. All right? But then, reasoning is part of spirituality. Being able to make use of your own inherent biological ability in order to inquire about things, in order to look into the fabrics of things. All right? But then, reasoning okay, must ultimately submit itself to the great deal of life itself. You see, uh, reasoning is based on available information. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's based on available information.
Yeah.
What you don't know, you can't think about, right? And all of this available information is what you may call data, right? And so you need data to process your thoughts. Without data to process your thoughts, then there is no thought. You got what I just said? Do you get what I'm saying? You need data to process it. And so the raw materials, all right, that makes up thought is data. If you don't have information, you are completely blank, nothing to think about. All right? But then there's something you must understand about that. When we talk about data, then we talk about time. And so we are within the spectrum of time by the time we talk about data because it's something that has happened, right? Do you understand? Something that has happened. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why to be immediate with life, it comes with a cessation of thought, actually. Because thought belongs to the past, but life is happening. Right?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Life is happening, but thought is based on the past. So if I say take no thought for tomorrow, what am I telling you? Be immediate with life. Because from thought, which is past data, right? We want to forecast. We want to forecast, right? And so we create the future from the past. All right? And often the future that we have constructed out of the past is always something that takes the nature of our past data. It should work out like this. But then you are not in command of life. Sorry. You see? And I think this is where this is the weakness of religion, right? You want to command life. But then trusting life itself or trusting the universe or trusting God is to understand that the very nature of life, okay, is such that happens in favor of everyone, in favor of all things. You see, you don't have to pray for divine favor. You see, it's the expression of life. That's favor. Okay? The reason there is a need for the prayer of favor is because of human society and religious structure. And so society has a model that it has imposed on life. Therefore, it has created our misery. So who we are right now, we are product of our society. Our misery, our everything, right? If you are frustrated right now, it's because of where we find ourselves. Okay? It's not because you find yourself in this life. And so taking your life because things are not going well, it's a complete misinterpretation of your situation. Because life is not what is doing you like that, it's your society, the place you find yourself. A model that has become a structure, existing as the basis for which you run your life. That's where all the frustrations are coming from. Are you following? That's where they are coming from. But life is for the favor, for the outflowing, for the abundance of everyone. Do you understand? And so you do not always have to, or should I say, Don't always expect that the future coming from your past data is always the best for you. And sometimes, or what we need is to humble ourselves before the great mystery of life. So there is the mystery. It's a mystery because the very nature of life itself is timeless. All right? But time is thought, right? Time is what? Time is thought. Because there is no thought if there is nothing to think about. And if there is nothing to think about, there is no what? There's no thought. All right? So time is thought. But mystery is timelessness. Is what? Is timelessness. And you must understand that the possibilities of life do not occur within the spectrum of your own time. Here, we have to trust. We have to what? We have to trust. Okay? And so, it is... okay, let me establish this quickly. Trust is one of the... is the foundational virtue. All right? For a well-being. You got what I just said? Part of the expression of that human virtue. For us to be whole. You see? For us to be whole. Now, let me talk about the gift of ignorance. Now, I don't mean ignorance in the way you will understand ignorance. That's why I said the unknown. Okay? We are capable of ignorance, right? Are we? Are we capable of ignorance? We are capable of being ignorant. Two things. You are capable of knowing and you are capable of being ignorant. And so to be ignorant is to be human. And to know is to be human. Because they are all human possibilities. Alright? Now, life oscillates between these two. Okay? That which is known and that which is the unknown. Okay? When it comes to that which is known, there is an attitude to it. And when it comes to that which is the unknown, there is also an attitude to it. And the attitude to the unknown is what you may call trust. Because you don't know what will happen with your life in the next 10 years, right? You know. But do you really know according to the field of perfect knowing? Yes. I said according to the field of perfect knowing. According to the field of complete knowing. Do you really know? Okay? And so, trust the field. I think I can't say this enough. Trust what? Trust the field. Trust God. Trust the field. Right? You know, many times, please listen very well, those of us online. Many times we find ourselves in situations, and then all about the situation, we actually don't what? Do you understand? See, let me tell you, there are things that happen in your life that it appears to be very painful, but you realize that, beyond that which has happened, all right, a great deal lies ahead. You understand? Something more powerful will come out from that ashes that you've gone through. But right now, you may not see it, okay? You may not see it. All right? You may not see it. Now, what is hope? What is hope? Let me tell you, a word of hopeless people. A word of hopeless people, it's a broken word. If, for example, you look at the way the whole economy is going, and it gets to a point, right? People completely become hopeless. And when, hopeless people can be anything. They can take their lives, they can take your life, they can take anybody's life, they can do anything. You see? And so we actually, we actually do not have all of the things figured out as far as our lives are concerned. Now, this is where humility should come. There's a way I put it down. Let me read it. Sorry. Let me read it. Look at it. It is a humble fact that all that I am is not all that I know I am. It keeps you in that place of humility, and it keeps you in that progressive walk. Because even in a given situation, you can't have all of it well figured out. You see, the point where hopelessness, comes into our space is that point where we think we have exhausted all avenues, right? Are we together? We think we have exhausted all avenues regarding a particular situation. Okay? And by the time we have such thought, it's a thought. It's what? It's a thought. We talk about awareness, change, and well-being. You have to be aware. It's a thought. You think you have exhausted all avenue. As far as that particular situation is concerned, it's a thought. And from that thought, hopelessness comes into our what? It comes into our field. It comes into our space. It comes into our heart, and then it takes over us. You see? But then, when you know that the field of consciousness is not all about the observable, it's not the totality of the observable, but also the unobservable. There are many things going on you don't know about. There are many things happening. In fact, your life, you see, the existence of your life right now depends on so many things that you don't know. You just think it's only, do you understand? It's not, now, you may also depend on, you may know that, I depend on oxygen to live. All right? But then it will shock you that if all the oxygen is there and you take every other things away, you may not find oxygen, right? Do you understand? Or oxygen may be present, you may not even live, right? What I mean is, there are many things, everything
is the result of your existence.
No, everything is responsible for your current being.
Yes.
And that you are only aware of a fragment of what? Of this field that powers your existence. You are only aware of you are only aware of a fragment of it, of a portion of it. That's what you call the known. It's just a drop in the ocean of the unknown. Okay? And so there is this humility that life itself produces in our space by the time we understand this mystery. And if you understand this mystery, that is the end to fear. And so, like I was saying, all right, that point where hopelessness, comes into your space is the point where, let's say, is the point where thought has now fully been exhausted. Because all that you are thinking and all of the ways you are thinking to solve a particular problem is all thought. And by the time there is no avenue, and that is okay. It's good to think. It's good to reason, like I said, it's part of the whole thing. All right? But then the pitfall is when we begin to take this portion as the totality of being, as the totality of reality. Meanwhile, you don't know all of it. It's just a fragment that you know. You see, your life, what you may call your life, is bigger than the known. You see, now please understand me on a more serious note. You see, your life is bigger than the known. Because it's bigger than the known, there is an aspect of it that it is for your planning. There's an aspect of it that it is for your thoughts. There's an aspect of it that it is for your thinking and drafting and making decisions and all. All right? But there is a greater portion of it that you only walk through on the basis of trust. You see, many of us don't, certainty has killed our wonder. Certainty.
Yeah.
We want to be certain. And because of that, life becomes boring and frustrating because it's not always happening the way we want it. But you must understand that sometimes what you want is not always the best. I mean, I have had this play out in my life personally. In fact, it has played out so much that I had to submit to this mystery. No, this is not whatever want to happen to me, let it happen to me. That also, it's an awareness coming from thought. Is what? Sometimes people have gone through thought. They have gone through all kinds of frustration. And then I say, okay, whatever that what? No. When I talk about trust, we are actually talking about that state where you have shed off all element of thought and trusting that very intent of the universe, that intention of the universe, that intention of God, if you like to see it that way, as always the best. Okay? And so you see, it is on this border of trust. It is on this border of trust that we function out of hope. We live out of hope. You get what I just said? Okay. Do you understand? Please help me with the power bank. Let me power this thing. It's inside and the cord. Okay. Any question? What do we are we flowing? Are we together? I mean, this is beautiful when thank you. When you and I begin to understand this. Okay? You see, it's a work for everybody, all right? And also, it's a work for me too. I know, I always learn to speak for myself first. It's a work for me, and I think it's a work for everybody. Okay? You see, what I'm saying, you don't have to belong to religion for it. It's just to understand life itself. This is beautiful. It's something you should be aware of. When you are aware of this, then you can navigate trying times and moments when you understand this. Because the reason why people stick to the known, look at it. The reason why people stick to the known and cling or get attached, that's a very strong word, get attached to the known, is because of fear. The fear of the unknown. The unknown in the sense of, oh, I don't know what's going to play out. That kind of thing. And so they cling toward the known. That's the attachment. All right? But then don't forget that, you see, the truth is, trying times happen to everyone. Trying times happen to everyone. Some are dead in the process and some survive in the process. Some come out stronger and some come out weaker. Some come out, with a renewed passion for life, and some come out completely dispassionate about all things. All right? But something is sure, or something is common, that we are fundamentally faced with trying times. Do you get? And so the issue is not the trying time. The issue is the understanding as the basis of your work, as the basis of your own navigation. All right? Now, this is so important for you. Okay? Understanding this field of perfect knowing that life is itself, and out of which arise possibilities. Okay? As that which is beyond, listen, that which is beyond your space of thought. Your what? Your space of thought. Listen, your feelings arise from your thoughts, your space of thought. Your emotion arise from your space of thought, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Your decisions do what? They arise from your space of thought. But is there that which is beyond thought? Yes. There is that which is beyond thought. There is that which is beyond the past. Okay? And so, if it's beyond the space of your thought, then there is an attitude that you should have towards your thought, which must be born, or which should be born out of the discovery of that which lies beyond. Do you understand? Are we together? And so, when it comes to the field, all right, of perfect knowing, of complete knowledge, right, we talk about his essential character, all right, which is faith, mystery, and what? And wonder. Or we didn't talk about the aspect of wonder, because it's actually what mystery, it's the fruit of mystery. Wonder is the fruit of what? Of mystery. When you contemplate on this nature of life, all right, it suspends you. It puts you in that suspense of wonder. So you are walking in trust or in faith, but it is not a religious kind of dogmatic faith that wants to be certain in everything. Do you get what I'm saying? You want to be certain, you want to predict this, you want to, do you understand? So, religion, there is no wonder in religion because it's shrouded in certainty. Okay? And that's why we can't make progress as religious people. Because what we have taken to be certain is what we have taken to, to be fixed. It must be like that. Do you get what I'm saying? You see, that's why when a trial comes to a religious man, and when such religious man is frustrated, his frustration is always more intense. Do you get what I'm saying? It's always more intense. Because he feels this should work this way and it's not working, right? So his frustration is always more intense than one who has humbly submitted to this very mystery of life. You don't always have everything. In fact, you don't have everything figured out as touching a particular thing and situation, and that's why you must trust the field, the God field. You must trust that which is beyond thought. Okay? I think this should be a work for everybody. So if you forget everything that we're saying right now, don't forget that there has to be, don't place absoluteness on the borders of your thought. What did I say? Don't place absoluteness at the borders, the space, the edge of your thought. And says, because you have exhausted the avenues of your thoughts, there is no hope again. Don't go in that route. You don't have everything figured out. So you have to trust the field of perfect knowing. That's faith. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, you can see that this faith is not saying you should not use your sense to work, right? You should not function, you should not reason. Because the religious kind of faith is always against what? It's against reason. So it's a battle between reason and that kind of faith. No, this is not what we're talking about here. All right? It is the kind of faith that allows the space for your thought to exist, but then goes beyond the boundaries of your thoughts, such that the thinker must of necessity come to the awareness of the limitation of his own thoughts, so as to walk beyond the borders of his own space into the unknown. And so that which is the unknown is timeless, right? And so it's not thought, it's not data. That's why you call it trust. And so this trust is not it's not against fact. It's not what? It's not against fact. It's not against data. Okay? But it is the possibility of life that goes beyond the what? That goes beyond the realm of fact and of what? And of data. And so what we are saying is that you cannot figure out life on just the basis of fact and figures and data. There has to be the other aspect, which is trust. There are many things sisters and brothers, that we don't have an explanation to. Right? We don't have an explanation to them or for them. Right? You get what I'm saying? And it's completely okay. It's normal. Like you don't have what? An explanation for them. So there is the ultimate field of life that is a far greater wisdom beyond and above one's own space of thought. And your work as the organism or as a man, if you want to call yourself that way, all right? Your work as an organism is knowing how to deconstruct your borders. Is what? Knowing how to deconstruct your borders, knowing how to remove what you have defined as the end of it. You get what I just said? Removing those borders, deconstructing those borders. Why? Because there is really no what? There is really no border. There is really no border. And so if there exists a border, it is the one you created out of your thoughts. And so thoughts, past data, figures, fact helps us deal with certain things that has to do with life, but a great deal of it lies beyond it. And so back to what we first said, consciousness as that which is conscious of and as the unconscious is what makes up the field that powers your being. I mean, one can completely flow in this alignment with the wholeness of this field. Okay? When you by awareness understand the nature of thought, right? And the nature of reality itself, because they are two different things. You get what I just said? The nature of thought and the nature of reality itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I don't have to claim this, right? All right. The what? The nature of thoughts and what? Of reality. You see? Now you may have missed it here, right? It may have it look at it. This works in, I've seen this play out in my life. Like seriously. In your thought, you think you have missed it. But in reality, you have never what? You've never missed it. You see, a door you think was closed, it's actually an open door in where? This is crazy. Is what? To be an open door in reality. Do you understand? Oh my God. Like, no, when you are told, you see, I've had things said to me by many people. You know? And by the time they say that thing to you, they think that you know, people think without them you are gone. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you are gone. And I mean, sincerely, from the standpoint of where you are currently, that person is very important. Okay? And so it appears that you actually what? You're actually gone. And so within your space of thought, the door is what? It's closed. But then in reality, it's just an open door. But if you do not understand, if you don't have this awareness of what we're talking about, you see, what happens is the moment you are locked and caged within the space of your thoughts, and that kind of situation happens, what follows? Misery, right? You become miserable, miserable and hopeless, right? And hopeless. You see, there is actually what keeps a man in that in that in that state of hope, even when the immediate circumstances is not looking like something that we turn out well. Okay, it is the knowing of that which lies beyond the boundaries of your thoughts. You see, you may not have everything figured out, okay, but you must not lose your trust in the intent of the universe to work out things perfectly for you. You got what I just said? Do you understand? Okay? And so understand the nature of your thought. When you are aware, when you say understand yourself, right? So understanding yourself as a flow, all right, within thought and as a flow beyond thought. What I just said? What did I say? Understanding yourself within, as a flow within where? Within thought, within the space of thought, and beyond the space of thought. And so when I say take no thought for tomorrow, right? Jesus says so, right? Take no thought for tomorrow. Because you see, the truth is, because of the nature of our data we function with, all right, the operation of our life is structured within the spectrum of time. Do you understand? And so today, tomorrow, and next what? Next tomorrow. All right? And so we think in a linear what? In a linear way. All right? So what about if reality is like this? Always coming back to that thing. There is no beginning here. There's no what? There's no end here. And so it's like life teaching you that where you are at, right? Where you are at, you are completely present right here. Okay? Completely present. What? Right here. And so the awareness of being present, all right, it's a timeless experience. Do you understand? It's a timeless state. One has to transcend the spectrum of time in order to be here and now. And so if I say be present, I'm not saying engage. I'm calling you into timelessness. And by the time you are in this state of timelessness, you are not in where? Do you understand? You are not in time. Do you get? And if you are not in time, there is a cessation of data, right? There is a cessation of data. It is only in timelessness that we can actually, oh my, it is in timelessness that we can actually transcend whatever that is going on within the space of thought. Because thought is time. Do you understand? Thought is time. And so the ancient mystics, all right, talks about this being in this moment. I mean, they are not just they are not people who don't have something else to do with their life. They are actually people who woke up. Do you understand? Because the expression of waking up, the character of a man waking up to himself is knowing when to be now. Do you understand? Knowing when to act and knowing when to dissolve his action. Because it is in acting, all right, that all our frustration come about, all our tiredness, frustration, all our all kinds of mysteries, they come when we act, right? Out of that action. But then they are all part of life. It's not what you should run away from. And so what is most important is knowing how to handle them, right? Is knowing how to transcend it. Is by having to dissolve. Is by having to be right here and now. Is by having to be timeless. And so to be timeless is to transcend the borders of your thoughts. Because thought is time. Okay? Do we get so far? You understand this so far? Do not feel, I mean, I'm going to say this in a very strong way. Do not think that you are going to consciously, all right, do everything that will make your life a beautiful experience. You see, it is an illusionary certainty. It is what? It is what? Now, am I saying you should not make any effort in order for a beautiful life? That's not what I'm saying. But if you think that you are going to do everything, right? All possibilities are within your conscious space, you are going to be very shocked. You see, you cannot, you can't escape that place of trusting. That's what? You can't escape it. And so life is happening. You won't have everything figured out. But then there is a higher possibility, and there is an attitude to the nature of reality. I mean, as different from your attitude to the nature of thought, right? Your attitude to the nature of thought should be born out of your discovery of that which lies beyond, of that which is the unknown, of that which is the great field. You get what I just said? So, that attitude of trust, okay, is not a belief. It's not what? No. It comes, do you understand? From being aware that a great deal of consciousness is the unconscious. Is what? Is the unconscious. Is the unknown. And so, I said there are certain basic questions that you begin to find so difficult as you get to, right? As you get to, plug deep into this understanding. Something like, who are you? You never completely know who you are, right? You never. Because that which is you are observing is just a portion, it's a drop in the ocean of the unknown. And so the observer and the observed is the known. Is what? Is the known, is what constitutes the portion of the known. And everything together collectively is just a drop in the ocean of the unknown. And so that which you are, that which I am, is not all that I know I am. Understand? What I know I am is just a drop in the ocean of the unknown that I am made of. You get? And so, even to our own very self, there must be this demonstration of trust. You see, if you look at you, you are not in wonder, you have lost it. You get what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? You see, the very notion of you, all right, should produce wonder in your space, because you are a mystery being unfolded. You don't know everything about you. And that fact must bring you to a place of humility. It must humble you. It must keep you like a scientist who constantly seek. Do you understand? Who constantly seek out. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you never take thought as the totality of knowing. As what? As the totality of knowing. So there is what should be your attitude to the nature of thought, to the space of thought, and there should be your attitude to what you call the nature of reality. And so nobody's saying you shouldn't think. Think, but understand the limitation of it. And you can't base your life on the space. You can't base your life completely on what arises from your space of thought. You get what I just said? Do you understand what I'm saying? And so, if nothing is hardening up within the space of your thought, don't say your life is finished. Don't what? Don't think your life is finished because nothing is hardening up. Don't think that's the end of the road because nothing is hardening up. You see, to think that way is to have placed your life within the limited what space of thought. But reality is far bigger. It's boundless. Okay? So any question? We just have less than 30 minutes. Any question or contribution? Let's those of us online, we can also contribute or ask questions. All right, make use of the mic.
How can one stay in this you know that's how can one constantly stay in that awareness of this understanding and not stay locked up in that state of thought? I don't know if you understand me. That's such that when things happen, you are not just limited to your thoughts, but you constantly understand that nature of reality also, that you are aware of reality and you are not just locked up in that space of thoughts whereby you just like sometimes it's like when things happen you are almost always brought to that limitation of your thoughts, and
Okay.
it's like you don't remember that there is that space of that understanding of the ultimate reality. Let me use that word.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. Well, now this is a walk. WLK, right? It's a walk. All right. And you see, when things happen in our lives, we go through the emotion of it. So it's not about saying to feel bad if something negative happen, right? But then what you do with how you are feeling that moment is left for you. It's really what matters. In other words, whether you are to, remain at that state or transcend it, it depends on the person in it. Okay? And so you can go through the emotion of something, but you must not be bound to remain there. Now, to go beyond that motion, for you not to remain bound to that motion, right? It's where this understanding comes in. Okay? Now, when you understand this, okay, and when it is a realization for you, are those moments, all right, where you are faced with whatever, okay, that understanding will always surface. You see, because the truth is, it will get to, there are points in our lives where uh, things happen to us. You can be looking for somebody to come help you. You're not going to find one. To encourage you, you're not going to find one. To give you words of hope, you're not going to find one. All right? That's why this has to be a work. It has to be a personal understanding. You see, you are finished if all the time you are looking forward to somebody to come what? Do you understand? And so it's something that has to be a realization within your heart. So if it's an understanding, what I mean by realization is an understanding. It's not a spooky kind of experience. And so once it's an understanding, all right, at those points, it will always surface, it will always rise up from your heart. Okay? All right. What about us?
Okay, don't know. It's not like a question to say, but
Okay.
like we're saying, it's a work, and we're saying it's not like that religious kind of sense that is an understanding. So I feel most times the truth is that, okay, for me I feel that when to become religious is when we feel that the 1 plus 1 we did yesterday should be 1 plus 1 today.
Today.
So that place of religiosity is the point where we try to hold on to what we think is the exact calculation
Certainty.
to get what it is.
Yes.
Maybe I supposed to sit down, I supposed to pray, I supposed to do stuff. So it might not really be that sense of religion in that way, but it's we holding on to the previous ways we have seen that this is how we have handled life, and it works. So that's why I even go the idea of saying that ignorance of the moment, where we, should I use the word hopeless, in a sense, we are just ignorance. We don't really have what to do. We are just vulnerable at that moment and trusting the workings of the
Yeah.
universe to bring out the best in that moment, where
Yeah.
we can really say this is it. Because
Okay.
truly it's a work, it's not just a statement, and there's not really a way to it. There's no, you
Yes.
can't say this is the way, you must do it this way, because in every way, in every point we find ourselves in life, we see that when we open our heart to that vastness or that freshness of the moment, we just observe life doing its thing. We see that our hand or our effort trying to put life together is just useless or effortless. So that sense of religiosity
Yeah.
can take place in many places. We trying to hold on to the
A
past
particular thing.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important, and that's why, you know, I always do not, bring method into the things I share, because humans have the tendency of holding on to something and making religion out of it, and that's why I talk about understanding often, because when it's an understanding, um, it arises in any mode. So you're not giving it a mode in which it must occur. it arises in any given mode. Okay? That's because it's an understanding. You get? Uh, there is this, there is a difference between a student who understand a mathematical problem and the one who do not understand it. But he's asking them to give him the method in which to solve this particular issue. So are you saying, okay, let's have this? I was having a personal class with one of my colleagues, one time during our MNC class. Okay, so I was doing this particular problem. So the person said, okay, are you saying just add this to that, this thing gives you this? I said, no, it may not always what? It may not always turn out to be this exact way, because maybe in examination setting, they can give you a different, it's the same thing, no, but the question will come differently. All right. So if you have a mode in which you solve the former problem, and that mode may not fit into this, right? So what really um, um, matters at that point is your overall understanding of the principles that surrounds the whole thing. All right, that's how you can navigate your way through. Do you get what I'm saying? And so understanding is actually key in all things. In all things, understanding is key. So when you have understanding, right, whatever things you know, okay, can flow out in any given mode. Do you understand? And so that's why I talk about understanding. I emphasize understanding rather than method and practice. And um, 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 I'm not completely debunking the fact that you need to what? You need to practice. You need to sit down sometimes and reflect on yourself. I'm not debunking that. Okay, like I said, there's always a space for everything. And there's something you must know. As far as you are capable of everything, it is human to be that thing. You get what I just? That's why I said, are you capable of ignorance? You said yes. Then it is human to be ignorant. Do you get what I just said? And so you are all of it. But then you must um, understand, understand their place. Do you get? So it's still tied to this understanding. Understand their place. Okay? Then lock yourself in a given mode. Don't cage yourself within a given box and say all things will happen like this. You must. No, 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 no. Don't cage yourself like that. Okay? Yeah. So that's a very profound point right there. Do you have anything? Question or anything? Those of us online, do you have questions? You can ask your question. I'm seeing it right here.
Okay, it's not really a question, but I think I'll ask a question at the end of the sharing. One thing that has brought frustration to humanity or to religious persons is the fact that we feel that we have a destiny, like an end point. That is the creating the boundaries. So we feel that anybody that is born has a destiny, something that is supposed to achieve in life. There's a purpose of life. I think that was the first thing you said initially when you started class. That is there a purpose for our living?
Mm.
So we grew up in a setting where we feel that there's a purpose for our lives and there's a destination for it. So they'll say you have a destiny, and we try to create these modes and patterns to work towards it. So if things are not going according to the plans or the pattern that we have created, the mode we have actually made, will become frustrated, and that's where the hopelessness and feeling miserable come about. So the question I want to ask is, because I feel you did not answer it, is the fact that do we really have a purpose for living? Are we just here? Because funny enough, before this meeting, I was engaging with something online, and it was funny, and I think I saw sense in it, that the guy was saying something like, "Then what's our purpose?
Okay.
Um, why were we created, or why are we here exactly?" So it's a question
Okay.
now.
Is there really a purpose for being here? Is there a reason? Is there something we are to do? Do you know what purpose means? Something we are supposed to achieve here and now. Eh? Okay. Well, everybody can have, can stick with whatever they think about that. Okay. But I think the issue of destination, it's part of the nature of time. And so that which has the beginning has what? Has an end. And so we talk about origin and destiny. Okay? And so the talk of origin, where are you coming from? And the talk of destiny, where are you going to? Which some eventually call purpose, right? Okay, now origin, destiny, it's still time, right? When we are talking about that which is timeless, we don't talk about origin. For example, if I say you are present, right? And of course, you are present, right? And being present, I'm not coming from anywhere, and I'm not what? And I'm not going anywhere. I was neither born, nor will I what? Nor will I die. Do you understand? I am present. Okay? That's consciousness at a different level, or that's an awareness at what? At a different level. Okay? So you can actually function out of that, awareness of being present. And issues about origin and destiny wouldn't be a concern. It's not something that you start dragging with. Okay? And so when you say, am I here for something? Then you ask yourself, what are you here for? Oh, I'm here to help the poor. Do you get what I'm saying? There are people who have defined the context, like I was sharing when we started. People have defined giving context to their life based on these meanings of what they want to do. I was called by God to liberate. It's a meaning somebody has what? Do you understand? And so it was not a meaning that fell from heaven. It's a human being giving context to his existence within space-time, right? I want to be a footballer. Okay? So being a footballer is what the person is a context in which the person has chosen to express his life within what? Within space-time. Okay? But then, when you say, is there a purpose for the human being? It's a complete different thing or question from what do I want to do, or I want to be a footballer. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. For being a human being, because all of these persons who is a liberator, who is a footballer, who is who is a medic, who is a doctor, who is a teacher, who is a politician, all of this, right? Before all of this, we were first human beings. We were what? We were first human beings, right? And this is something you really must understand. I do not subscribe to that idea of destiny, but I subscribe to the idea of possibilities. And so there was no particular thing that says if once you are born, you must be a doctor. That you are a doctor right now as a human being is just a possibility of life. You could have been anything else. And so you cannot lose your destiny. There's nothing like losing your destiny. There's nothing like you didn't fulfill your purpose. Do you understand? I don't deal on that thought. That thought is not featured in my awareness. As I am right now, there's nothing like I did not fulfill my purpose. Even if I stop all I'm doing, I cannot. Do you understand? I cannot say I did not fulfill purpose. Do you understand? I don't think in that line because I don't have a destination mindset. I have presence mindset. All right? I have possibilities mindset. Now, I mean, this is very powerful, okay? You really must understand. It's like saying there is a particular person that is meant for you in that sense. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like there's this particular person sent from heaven for what? For you. There's nothing like that. And so you cannot miss the right person in that sense. You cannot miss, you say this one was sent from, you cannot. All right? Whatever event that play out within your space, all right, is just a portion of possibilities amidst infinite possibilities of life. Do you understand? Amidst what? Amidst infinite possibilities of life. Do you get? So there's a possibility that you could have been somewhere else right now as we're talking. There's a possibility that you could have been here and you're actually here. Do you understand? There's a possibility that you couldn't have even known me and I couldn't have even known you. There's a possibility that you could have died before this time. You see, there exist possibilities of life. Do you get? Not destiny. So, destiny is just, it's just an ideology of people who don't understand the rhythm of life. You understand? Who do not understand the rhythm of life as a dance. You get? And if I want to go deeper in that, of course, there's no time. If I want to go deeper in that, you see, realize that there has not been a single you since birth. There's not what? There has not been a single you this birth. A single you, a particular you, since you were born. Yes. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago. Don't know. Okay. And so across timeline, you see, there are many persons of you that have existed across timeline. Do you get what I just said? There are many persons of you that have existed across timeline. That's why if somebody perceive you and want to judge you according to how they know you 5 years ago, they are going to be making a big mistake. Do you understand? You know, there are people like that. They want to perceive you based on what they knew about you 5 years ago, 3 years ago. That's not true. Because there are several you that have existed across so many timelines. And so you are a complete. And so you don't see the same Josephine twice. We are constantly changing. And that's the only real thing that we are changing. Okay, you have something to say? All right. Those of us online, are you just hearing, not saying anything, or asking questions? All right, you can go on.
Okay.
You can also talk, speak aloud so that these guys can hear you.
Okay. Relating to that, I feel like you said, we are first humans before picking up anything.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think most times we must accept the fact that we are born into a system.
Yes.
A system where there have been ways to survive. It has been structured. So for that survival mindset to still be there, you just find yourself picking up different social career.
Yes.
Because if you go to other systems of the world outside this westernized kind of government, you see that the idea of this is what I am is different from what we say this is what I am. Like,
The situation will redefine you.
yes, the situation will actually define you. You might not even doctor might not be something that's even important, where maybe we have those guys that are into all those herbal stuff, and it's really recognized and endorsed in such society. You see that the society has actually defined what they feel is their destiny or their career to see. So most times we try to struggle because we don't want to accept that this is a system. Because I feel that when there's a problem, the first thing is accepting that, okay, this is it. This is society we find ourselves. This is a system we find ourselves.
Fact.
So yeah, so we have to accept it. Before now, I used to be a very good footballer, and I know I'm still a good footballer, and I was in that part of being a good footballer. But if you look at the way life has pushed me like this,
politician now.
it's not possible for me. If that, I feel that's where the idea of attachment and letting go come in. But if I'm still holding on to that idea of, okay, I'm a footballer, I want to be a footballer, my life may become miserable because I'm not seeing the possibilities of life.
It will become more miserable when you say God said.
You see that's
God said I'm an evangelist.
right now. It's not the life is showing that it's not it. It's possible you would have been a footballer, but my parents were already hindrance that you cannot be a footballer. But because I don't know, I didn't really know the idea of letting go. But out of too much fight and greed, I just have to leave it and say, okay, now I'm looking at politics. If politics doesn't work, I'm not holding on to politics. It's the life, it's what it is. Our frustration comes in when we are so attached that this is just it. I'm good in this thing. You are good in different things, just that you are not seeing it because you have attached yourself. So that's where the idea of, okay,
So
this,
that attachment brings a limited sense of operation.
yeah, it brings the attachment. I feel that, like Favor will say, our neighbor, that life is beautiful in its meaninglessness. There is no meaning to life, but we try to make meaning of it, then we find ourselves frustrated.
Yes.
I want to do this. I want to
Most
make
especially
a
when the
meaning.
meaning is
It's not
not
fit, yeah,
is not happening
the way you think it's
the
supposed
way
to
you
happen.
think it should happen.
You now become frustrated.
It's still,
So there's no purpose to life. It's just the system that is giving us purpose.
so beautiful. I think that this is it. You recognize that, okay, before anything, this is who you are first, okay, and the system in which you find yourself and whatever path, all right, that you've taken on, okay. Why not just be at it? Like, if you are a politician, for example, why not just be, and don't begin to use it to define you? Must you define you? Do you understand what I'm saying? You must not, do you get? You must not define you because you're actually undefined, right? Yes. The only word that was used to describe you when you were born was a human being. I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying. And so before taking on, I think all of that identity that we begin to take on, even if at all you are found in that, doing any of that, I don't think it should define you ultimately. Defining you is for you to become attached to it, creating boundaries around you, and of course, you live a very limited and a miserable life. Most especially when it appears. It's a fact that many things may not work according to how we expect it, right? Yes. But then you must not become frustrated by it. Do you get? So by the time you have this understanding, I think you should be able to navigate through your space.
That's why gratitude is actually key, because
Yes.
there are different disappointments, and we must accept that there are disappointments. But it becomes so heavy in the heart when you just feel this is all of you. But I feel when that sense of gratitude is there,
Being grateful.
your heart is open to the different possibility of life. You
Yes.
happening in different form, different space, or different time. And
That's
you
why
have to let go.
gratitude is unconditional.
Yeah.
It's not tied to a reason. A heart of gratitude is an awakened heart. All right. When you are grateful, you don't have to. Nothing have to happen before what?
Yeah, before it comes.
Before you sustain and maintain that heart of gratitude. I think that's the expression of that trust. When you are truly living out of trust, your heart is grateful for all things. Okay, and I think that's where the authentic life is. Okay, are we okay? All right. Those of us online, thanks for connecting, and we are done for today. Next week we continue.